I don't know this. So tell me a little bit about your story. Like, how did we get to this point? You can go back as far as you want to, but tell us a little bit about like how you got into financial services and kind of like how you ended up at the company you're at right now.
Yeah, so pretty much I was like I played college baseball and then ended up getting hurt, stuff like that. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. Literally seen a video on Instagram about like the like life insurance sales, and I was like, seems like I can do that. I mean, why not? Like took the risk, got my license, and then moved out to Florida. Didn't even think about it. So it was like kind of like came out here back against the wall. Like I remember like sold everything in like my dorm room to actually like move out to Florida. Had like 500 bucks in cash. So it was like originally from Oklahoma. It was like only had an Oklahoma bank. So I was like, damn, what am I gonna do? So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, I guess I'm drain that thing. And I was like paying my old upline like cash, like for leads whenever I first started. So I was like, had to do that, then got a bank account and kind of off to the race. But it was like back against the wall situation. It was like, what are you gonna do? Like, got to figure it out. You know what I mean? Life, honestly, it just kind of gave you like the first real instance of like, hey, like, no, nothing's easy at the end of the day, but it's like it's gonna be as hard as you make it. So it's like if you just do the right things and actually put in the work and work hard at the end of the day, it's like you're gonna find success in no matter like what you're doing.
Tell us about your first month ever in financial services. Like, how was it? Was it rough? Was it like you just picked it up and got it initially? Like, did it take a learning curve or walk us through that?
So I definitely wouldn't say I got it initially because like dude like I was just insane, like you know what I mean, like when I say like back against the wall it was like for instance our my mentor at the time was like he told a story. He's like, oh, you know, whenever I started he was like I was broke, didn't have anything pretty much going as well, and he was like, so my upline woke up at 4:30, so I woke up at 4. So I was like, okay, I'll wake up at 3:30. So I was like I just started doing whatever it takes. Like I was up at 3:30, like going to a gym, like started to develop like really on my mindset, and then it was like kind of led into everything else. But I was waking up at 3:30 like script training by myself. It was like no one else is awake, dude. I was like role playing with myself, like I was the agent, like myself, and then also the clients, like giving myself rebuttals. And it was like you're gonna be your biggest critic at the end of the day. So it's like after the first time I did, I was like, wow, if I sounded like that, like I probably wouldn't like buy anything from myself. So it's like if I could, it's like if I can get to where I'm like, okay, like yeah, like you don't sound bad now. So if I could get to where it's like that, then it's just obviously going to be better. And I've obviously sound better to other people if I think I sound good to myself.
Yeah. So essentially, you just were like, hey, I got to figure this out. Like, it has to work or it has to
Yeah,
work.
it has to work. Like, dude, like I remember waking like one guy up at like I would wake him up almost every single day at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Like, yo, bro, like let's script train. And like sometimes he'd be like, I remember he'd be like half asleep, like sitting there. So like he definitely plays a huge role into like the success that I had within my first month. But it was like I was just putting in the work from 8 a.m. to literally like until I would close. Like I would stay to the office until 3 a.m. Like I literally, I think I sold some clothes to literally get my Hawaii license. It was like 250 bucks. So I sold that so I could dial till 3 a.m. if I needed to.
Yeah, that's wicked, bro.
So it was like just the constant like repetitions. And it was like sometimes I'd stay till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning at the office and then boom up by like 4:30. Like just you know what I mean, just running on honestly like no sleep. But it was like I loved doing it. So like I was now like I don't get tired.
Yeah. How long did you do that block like that, getting up
Like
at
that block. I
3:30? Yeah,
honestly
like
I did it from my first 6 months. I started in May of 2024 and I did it to probably December 2024.
damn.
So yeah, 5, 6, 7 months.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like, how do you feel about that situation looking back? Like, do you feel like that's sustainable? Somebody's like, hey, I want to be just like Bryson. Like, they watch this whole video, and at the end, like, I'm gonna do, like, what's your advice to them?
Dude, like do it. Like you have to, but like you have to have a why. You know what I mean? It's like it ain't like I was just like I like waking up at 4 a.m. It was like no, it was like I had like you know what I mean, bigger dreams, bigger aspirations than that. Like want to retire family, take care of family. So it's like that's what drives me every day. So it's like whenever you have a why and like find your why for anything in business, it's like that's what makes it easy. Like you know what I mean? So it's like whenever you battle adversity, like I don't believe in adversity. Like I remember like my first 2 weeks in, like or my mentors like someone asked me like how do you handle adversity, he was like I'm not the right person to ask because like I don't believe in adversity. So like
Mhm.
as soon as he said that it was like it just clicked. Like I was like wow, like that's so true. It's like if you're battling adversity it's because of a situation, it's like because of your habits pretty much. It's like if you're
Yeah.
battling adversity it's because of the stuff you did that led to that point. But it's like obviously nothing's ever going to be perfect, so like yeah, like things aren't going to happen, but it's like it's only adversity if you tell yourself it's adversity.
Yeah. Nah, I like that, bro. I might steal that. I've never heard that one.
Mhm.
That's pretty unique for sure.
It was like that's whenever I was like, wow. So it's like no matter what, like anything happens in the business, chargebacks, not closed, and it's like dude, like there's like I can be complaining about the leads, right? I can be complaining about the leads, but it's like, am I gonna? But Joe over here is killing it on the leads. So is it like, is it the leads, or is it just like me and my mindset, the way I'm approaching leads? Everything's about like perspective, is what I would say. So
Yeah.
it's like if you really put it into perspective, it's like someone's complaining about leads, and it's like, dude, like no one's gonna care like you're complaining about the leads, because like realistically, and it is what it like. There's a kid in the hospital right now that has a month to live. Like, go tell him that the leads are bad. Like, you think
Right.
he like do you think he cares the leads are bad? No. So it's like that kid has a month to live, and you're complaining the leads are bad. So it's like everything's about perspective.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. I think that one of the things that I do appreciate about like your team and like all of you guys that I've come to learn, but I kind of know from, top down, is really it's just like the mindset of everybody is like it's not really a lot of excuses. It's just kind of like we just got to do it and however it works. Like I've seen you guys and I'll go get into it like the Google, what do you guys do? Google Meet stuff y'all be doing and like the FaceTime, like that's pretty
Mhm.
dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah,
like
but
some
it's
people
what
are
it
figuring it
takes. You
out,
know
bro.
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like when you look back, it's like what are like what I mean? What are the top producers doing? What are the guys doing that that are in a position I want to be in? Like, dude, they're scrappy. You know what I mean? Like I come from like an athlete background, so it's like like if you've seen a scrappy athlete, you'd see like you show up to a game like, oh yeah, like that dude's scrappy. So it's like you come into it like that. It's like you're doing everything you can to to get to the next level. So it's
Yeah.
like copy and paste what people do. Like if you see someone with the results you have, look inside their habits. And I promise you, like if you ask them what they're doing, they're gonna tell you, because like they didn't just get the success and like don't want anybody else to find success. It's just people are scared to ask questions.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's why I appreciate these, bro, because it allows people to get kind of that inside scoop. People won't ask certain things because they're like too prideful to be like, hey, like I need help. It's like,
Mhm.
dude, it's okay. Like that's the purpose of this. So you can watch it on
Yeah,
your
like
own.
I mean, we had a guy, for instance, kind of here in our office. It was like, dude, I'm not getting people to pick up, and he was like newer to the business, like wasn't complaining. He was like, what do I need to do? Like, is it this? Is it that? And I was like, bro, FaceTime, Google Meet, like, you know what I mean? And he was
Right.
like, oh, okay, boom. And he was like, then it was like, now he's like, he's closing FaceTime deals. His agents are closing FaceTime deals, and like new agents are getting paid because they're getting on FaceTime because they see you're a real agent. So it's like they're like, okay, this guy is real. So like that just kind of limits a bunch of objections like that too. And then that just builds his confidence within new agents, because they can't be reading they can't be reading the script as they're on FaceTime with somebody. Like you know what I mean? You're like, that's how you kind of learn just to talk to people.
Can you walk them through the FaceTime strategy and the Google Meet? I like their.
Yeah, so a lot of people have like a crazy setting on their phone. I don't even know how to turn it on my phone. And like some of these like clients like that are older, like I guess know how to work it better than me. But they'll like turn it off if they don't actually have you saved as a contact. So you call them and it goes straight to voicemail. Well, if you look and you have like Google Meet downloaded on your phone, you can either, literally 99% of the time, you can FaceTime them or Google Meet them. And it still rings on their phone like a phone call. So it's like if you FaceTime them, they pick it up, they actually see, you're a real person, so they don't got to worry about anything else. And you just go through the normal sales process. It's just the same thing, except for you're looking them in the face. So, and it kind of throws it back to, like the old school insurance days, like, cause I've been in it since it's only pretty much been virtual. So it's like, it kind of throws it back to be kind of, the door to door paper application, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I like. For those that know my story, that's where I came from. Like when I was selling fire, I was all in person. But when I heard that, I remember the first time I heard that from. Oh yeah, he's been on here before, Blake. I know you know Blake. So like, yeah, I do. When I first heard that from Blake, he was like, "Yeah, bro, we're like, we'll FaceTime." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "That's kind of fire." Like I would have never thought about that
And it's
in
it's
my
it's
mind, bro.
crazy because you come in, and if you're an agency owner, and you're wanting to build an agency, and it's like you're not FaceTiming clients, like new agents, that's like the easiest way to get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because they're sitting there going through the script, and it's like they could still mute it, and you can still help them out, but they're face to face. So
right.
the face to face, the real connection, the real person, obviously kind of lets most people know that it's not an objection. So you're not really getting objections. You're more so going to get like, is it really affordable? Do they really need it? And that's kind of the easiest way to go about it. Like I love FaceTime with clients.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah. When I heard that you guys do that and y'all do the Google Meet, I was like, That's brilliant. It's so funny because I actually one of my leads, somebody had came through the one of our funnels and he literally put in there a number. I called it. It was like, what's going on? And I FaceTimed him and he picked up. And I was like, that's kind of crazy. Like, wow, I don't know how people have that setting, bro. Like, what is that? But I was just like,
I don't even know. I don't even know how to turn it on. Like these people that actually like the clients that have it turned on, I'm like, okay, I don't know.
yeah, nah.
And
But
it's
to me,
like, yeah, you just have fun. Like it's, and I like to have fun. You know what I mean? I love to have fun with it. So it's like, even like playing sports, like it's kind of where that mindset comes from is like, you got to love what you do, but also you got to have fun with it. So it's like, I like to have fun with it. So it's like, that's why I like FaceTiming people. Cause like sometimes they're like, why are you FaceTiming me? I'm like, yeah, regarding the form you submit. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, wow, like that's amazing because, usually we just get 1,000 phone calls a day or 100 phone calls a day, where, 5 phone calls a day from all these people, all these spam people, blah blah blah. So it's like it's nice to see somebody.
yeah, yeah, bro.
And if like you're going through and you are on like you're on FaceTime, or if you're actually even on a phone call and they you see the little, if you have an iPhone, it'll pop up on your screen. It'll like the little FaceTime button, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
It'll pop up, and so if you get an objection, it's like, okay, hey, go ahead and click that green button for me. They're like, what? And they look at their phone, they click the green button, and then boom, you're on the phone. They see you're face to face.
Yeah, yeah. That's fire. I like it, bro. I really like it. I was like, yo, that's kind of dope. But
If you
okay,
want to get on FaceTime, if you're ever struggling to get paid, get on FaceTime.
yeah, I like that. I like that, bro. I'll definitely let agents know that. I think that's a tip that a lot of people should take because yeah, I hear that a lot. Like they're not picking up, and I'm like, well, have you tried everything to try to like get in contact with them? Like emailed them? Have you texted them?
Mm-hmm.
But like they're just like, oh no, I tried to call them twice. Like,
Yeah,
bro,
it's like okay, if you got a phone call from a random phone number, like you see, even if you fill out a form and you get a phone call from you're in Texas and you get a phone call from California, and you get two of them, you're like, that was a spam, but then you get maybe a third one or then a FaceTime, you're like, the heck, who is this? Hello, boom, and then you got them on the phone.
do you recommend that agents use like any local caller IDs? Do you call from your cell phone? Like, what's your strategy for like outreach?
I mean, honestly, dude, I've tried both. Like I've tried dialers, I've tried all that stuff, and like I love to hand, like I literally dial from like my personal phone. All my clients are in my personal phone. I don't have a second phone. I don't have any of that. The same phone number that I had in high school, same phone number I got now.
Yeah, no, I like it, bro. I
And
like
it's
it.
and that's how like when you put it into perspective, people are like, oh, I'm working the leads. Well, it's like, are you really working the leads?
Mhm.
So that's kind of one of the things. It's like, oh, I'm not getting pickups. I'm not getting pickups. Well, it's like, are you working the leads? Are you really working? Like, you know what I mean? Because like when people see an Oklahoma number pop up in South Carolina, like you think most of the time they're gonna answer?
Yeah,
No, but it's like, you actually persistently dial, you persistently work and are consistent, then yeah, like you're gonna catch them and they're gonna pick up the phone.
right. And you'll smash it for sure.
So it's like I honestly don't even believe that picks up your pickup rate. Like I've honestly might be the only person in the world that believes that, but I don't believe that it makes your pickup rate better.
Yeah, what's crazy is that when you move in like the leads that you are doing, like the landing page version of them, we did a study and it showed that calling from your personal number actually had a higher pickup rate than calling from a local ID with those leads in comparison to like regular form leads. And I think it's just because like a lot of these numbers that come up, it may say on there like, yeah, it's not marked as spam, but your actual cell phone number is a legit number that has tons of like data points over all the
Yep.
years. So like when you
And
call by, it's not gonna pop up as spam. And people
yeah,
don't.
and like sometimes like another thing I think is like if you are calling from an out of state, like like phone number, and like you call them once or twice, they're like, or like you call them from say you're calling from a dialer, my bad, and they're like, oh, this is someone, I'm in Oklahoma, so it's like, oh, someone's calling from Oklahoma. Oh, they called me 3 times from Oklahoma, or the same state. It's like, oh, they probably just got the wrong number, like they don't know what they're doing. They'll leave a voicemail. So then it's like, but if someone's calling me from Florida and they call me 3 times and like then they FaceTime me, I'm like, who is calling me from Florida? Like so you kind of get that perspective, you know what I mean? So it's like, who's calling me from, if I'm sitting in Texas, who's calling me from South Carolina? So it's like, okay, if you think about it like that, it's like, okay, why have they called me, every day the last week, 3 times or 4 times? It's like, what's going on? This has got to be something. It's got to be somebody.
Right. No, it's definitely the right way to look at it. Now, transitioning real quick before we hop
Mhm.
into your script and the training, your last month was your first, that was funny. Yeah, you was your first full month with us. How much did you write just for the people that so they
I'll tell you exactly. Let me go back to our little tracker. It was like 53 or 58. I don't remember. But it was, yeah, so 53 or 58,000. Let me scroll. Could have been that long ago. All right. We'll do the low end. We'll say 53. And then while I'm looking for it, when I find it, I'll let you know.
let's talk about before we go into the script. I know for a lot of people, we said that very like casually, but yeah, 53,000 in a month, that's what he was able to do. But first of all, before we go into your script and everything, why do you like vet leads? Like, what is your personal thing? Like, I like these leads because what?
So honestly, I grew up in a tiny small town. So it was like a lot of old, like like the old school, I guess like training, growing up old school kind of in a way. And
Yeah.
so it's like, with when you're dealing with veterans, they obviously served in the military. Most of the time they are a little bit older and like they just don't like they don't like the bullshit, you know what I mean? Like they like to get straight to the point. Like they might, talk to you and have a good conversation, but at the end of the thing, it's you providing them value and they'll be able to tell like the way you go about the call if you're putting them in a good situation or not, or the best situation. Like they can sense that. So if you're going into it as far as just kind of trying to do the best thing and just straight to the point, like I'm not scared to be straight to the point, like with the vets. And at the end of the day, they like that because too many people try to come in and just sell them something at the end of the day.
Right, right, right. So really just like the personality type of the demographic really
Mhm.
fits kind of like what you're looking for and what your personality is in alignment.
Yeah,
So
like I think that's why I like the vets the best, and like I guess I've had the most success with them. Is that's kind of what I think. I mean, I've ran IULs, I've ran regular final expense. The only thing I literally have not ran ever, never bought a lead for, is mortgage protection.
yeah,
Believe it or not, only thing I've closed like mortgage protection deals. People looking to cover the mortgage, never bought mortgage single mortgage protection.
right. Bread and butter, bro. Focus on what you're
Mhm.
great at. All right.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
That's a big thing too. Is agents try to just kind of bounce around too many times, and like yeah, you gotta find something that sticks or like that works, and then you stick with it. Even if it don't work at first, like make it work. And then when you make it work, then try to do something else. But if you're always trying to change something, you can't be a jack of all trades and a master of none.
walk me through your sales process. You get some leads overnight. Let's say
Mhm.
you got, fresh leads. Walk agents through like how you work fresh leads, your process, your thoughts. The floor is kind of yours.
Yeah, so going into it, boom, say I'm asleep, I wake up, 5 leads dripped in, come in usually like whenever I start dialing everything like that, I start from the bottom. So it's like whenever they're dripping in, the fresh ones, like freshest leads are at the bottom. So I'll start from the bottom and hit the freshest lead first, because why? It's like speed to lead. If I call someone who filled it out an hour ago, they're probably going to remember it. If I call someone who filled it out a week ago, the chance are they just kind of go down. They might, you'll bring it up, they might remember it, but off a rip. So I like the speed to lead for one. So I always start at the bottom and then I work my way like up through the list. So or up through the leads that I've gotten in. And it's like whenever I'm going in, it's like perfect. These people requested life insurance today, so they're gonna get life insurance
Right. So you have the mindset before you go in. You start working the list. Now, let's say you start at the list, you got 25 leads, you call
Mhm.
through that list. When do you call that list again?
right after.
Okay. And then
Like,
for
as I mean, if I'm calling 25 leads, I'm like they're gonna pick up, and like if they pick up like realistically and everything works out and you're doing what you're supposed to do, like you're probably gonna get into a presentation unless you just can't put them in a better situation.
right. Now, for the person that's like, Bryson, cool, man, like I don't know, I'm new. Like I don't really know how to work this. So like you're telling me to start at the bottom. Like how many times have I called in these leads? And
Mhm.
then if I'm doing that, I work from the bottom to the top. I do it again. How many times do I repeat that cycle throughout a day? Like just walking
So,
in.
so obviously, if you got definitely like lead flows is cash flow with the entire industry. So like that's obviously a given. So it's like if you only have 25 leads, like yeah, definitely run up and down it like a few times. But if you have like 25 leads, call it in the morning, twice. So you run through it twice in the morning. Call it about lunch. Call it after lunch. Call it at dinner. So just hit all the different times.
So really working that's one, two, three. That's you said about 4 or 5 times, right? Which makes sense, right? Because you're obviously making money because you're working leads properly, which goes
Right.
back to what we said earlier, rather than just calling a lead in the morning and in the evening and saying, oh,
Yeah,
they
you like yeah, you like some people, it's crazy. So it's like and you can tell people this like every single day, like people like in an office, wherever, like agents everywhere. It's like, okay, it's like how many times did you call the lead? Okay, it's like I called it twice. It's like, okay, well, call it more, but kind of like also you gotta dial and gotta call them every day. So it's like, they're like, oh, I called that lead like twice last week. It didn't pick up. I'm like, what? Like that it doesn't like it's like are you trying to are you know what I mean? Like are you trying to, not only get paid and make money, but like I like to go about it as like you're actually like putting people in better situations and protecting families. So it's like, do you actually like to protect families and get paid for it at a high level, or do you just say you like to?
Yeah, I think that's super important though, bro. It goes back to like why you're doing what you're doing. When you understand and you have like your first death claim. Like I always tell agents all the time, I'm like,
I literally had one yesterday. Woke up yesterday morning and Sunday night, the a lady's husband passed away in a house fire.
wow, wow, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know what I mean? It was just like, and I've had death claims before, but like that one was just like, wow, you know what I mean? It was just like another snap to realization. Like this is why we do this.
Yeah, it's a real thing, man. I remember my first death claim was my first client ever. It was like 5 months into the business, and I'll never forget. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like it hit me. And that month, I had my best month, like going forward, because like, was like, okay, this is like, like it's real, but it's not
And
real until you get that call
that's one
from.
of the biggest things is way too many agents in the industry try to come in and like think they're selling something. And it's like when you go into any kind of call trying to sell something, the person on the other end of the phone, they know what you're trying to do. So if you generally go in with the mindset of you are trying to put this person in the best position possible, or you are actually trying to protect this family, that literally like transfers, that energy transfers to the phone. I promise you. I promise you, absolutely promise you it does. Like I would say that's one of the absolute biggest things is
Mm.
people come in and they're just trying to sell, to sell, to sell. And it's like they just have commission breath. Like they're just trying to get paid. They're trying to make a quick buck. And it's like, no, dude, like we're here to protect families. So it's like that's kind of the standard that at least, you know, I'm building my own agency on. So it definitely I think that's why we're finding this coming quick success too.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
100%.
you have to care about people. You can't just, I mean, if you're money driven, you're going to fall out of the business. Like that's something my mentor says all the time. Like money driven people, you know, you're going to fall out of the business. It's just going to happen.
Walk me through your actual sales script. Like, hey, this is kind of how I do my intro. Then I move here. This is how I pitch my options, and then this is
Mm-hmm.
how I close. And you can,
So yeah. So biggest thing for intro is be loud. Like I mean, I've never personally met, I'm not saying they're not out there because I've never personally met a top producer who isn't like loud on the phones. So it's like that's one of the biggest things I say is like you have to be loud. You know what I mean? You have to have energy whenever you go into the call. Because if you're just sitting there and you're like, you know, hey, Mr. Tarpley, yeah, hey, it's Bryson Martin. Like, no, bro, like no one wants to talk to you. But if like you call them and you're like, yeah, hey, me, like, and you actually have some enthusiasm behind you, like that's going to change the entire trajectory of every single phone call you go into.
so give me an example of what that would look like through like an intro for an agent. That's like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you mean, Preston? Like, what do you mean be loud? Like, do I have to yell at them or give
No,
them?
yes. Be uncomfortable with how like if you think you're talking like loud and it's like I've had agents that are like, am I like I thought I was talking loud. It's like, no, like get uncomfortable. Like when you're uncomfortable in any situation, that's when you're gonna grow. And that's like in every aspect of the business and life and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you have to be uncomfortable being uncomfortable. Like talk with authority.
Got you. So give me, you got a lead. You're calling. My name's
Mm-hmm.
John. Give me your intro.
Okay, so biggest thing is honestly, whenever I started, I would like call them by their first name, and I don't even know why and it literally see it all the time. People who call like by like vets by their first name. I only run vets, by the way. So it's like you know that people who only run vets and they call them by their first name have a lower closing percentage than if you go Mister or
Mhm.
Mrs. Because they'll tell you like, oh, you know, Mister is my dad's, you know, call me John. So it's like it'd be like, you know, hey, Mister Tarpley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Tarpley, it's just Bryson Martin. I was giving you a call regarding the form you had submitted regarding the insurance plans for veterans.
Yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, I know what that is.
Okay, perfect. I would say, Mr. Tarpley, I'm just the medical underwriter assigned to you. I do work with vets 6 days a week, which you know means my job. It is super simple. It just means I'm gonna be the one that figures out if the VA or the private sector is the better option for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that
Okay,
does.
perfect. And then boom, you just from there. It's you know like before I do get too ahead of myself, I'm getting into my script. So
Got
I then I'll have them. You know, before I get too ahead of myself, do me a favor, grab a pen and piece of paper because I don't ask them to. So it's like I'm not. Hey, will you go grab me a piece of paper? Like no. Do me a favor, grab a pen and piece of paper, and just name. I'll give them my first name, my license, my national, like N number, and then I'll also have them write down my phone number.
Okay, let me ask you a question. This is super
Mhm.
important. I kind of know the answer, but for the people that don't,
Yeah.
what is the like your frame? What you just did there is very different than probably what a lot of agents are used to because they're like, I'm not gonna call Mister. But your frame that you came from was a lot more of like, hey, like I'm here to educate you and give you information rather than like, hey, you filled out this request. I'm here to like get something put in place. Can you
Mhm.
explain to an agent that doesn't necessarily know what that means? Like, why did you frame like, hey, VA benefits, like why did you approach it like that rather than saying, hey, like you requested, this life insurance, blah, 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 blah. Like where does that come from? Or for an agent that doesn't know why you did what you did, can you explain that to them?
Yeah, so it's to categorize them. It's like if you're looking for like if you're shopping for like I compare like if you're shopping for anything and or if you're looking for a house, right? And you're going to to get a real estate agent, right? Well, it's like if you have a real estate agent that's been in this state for a month compared to the real estate agent that's been in there for a year, like who do you think is going to know more about everything else? But the biggest thing is categorizing them, with the veterans, but also letting them know like you're there to at the end of the day put them in the best position by actually going to figure you're going to figure out what's the better option. Is it going to be like are we going to be able to help them out, or is going to get a VA policy through the VA actually going to be a better policy for them? Most of the time it's not.
Yeah. Agents do understand or should understand, correct me if I'm wrong. Can you walk them through what is the difference between that? Like I'm a new agent. I'm like, yo, I've been hearing all these things about vets, but I'm used to running final expense. What is
Mhm.
like advice that you would give them in terms of like, okay, here's kind of the difference and here's why we
Oh
get
yeah,
inquiries
yeah.
about these VA benefits. Can you explain that to them, please?
Yeah, so with final expense, I think one of the biggest things is like with vets is you don't really have to like push for like much for like a why. Like I don't push for their why, why they're getting it. Like they served in the military, they understand, like they know why they need it, and it's at the end of the day like they just need someone that's going to give it to them. So like that's the way I go. Excuse me, goodness gracious. But that's the way I go about the phone call, is because whenever you go into it like that, like if they're stubborn and you're just kind of telling them like, hey, like this is what it is. Obviously you said you can afford it, so let's get it for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no beating around the bush. Like let's get it for you.
Yeah. What are the VA, what's the difference between the two? Like
Between
what
the
the
Okay,
VA
so yeah,
benefit?
actually, believe it or
What is
not,
the
like a lot of the times, like veterans don't actually know. So the VA actually has several different policies. There's a whole website, you can literally look it up and you can find the prices too. There's like the VGLI, which is most people don't have it. It's like a policy they have to get like 1 year, I believe, in 3 months after they get out of this like out of service. So most people don't have that. Some people you'll run into it every now and then. Most of the time you don't, because they don't know about it. And
Mhm.
then next is going to be like a VA life policy. And so it's a 2 year wait period policy, no medical requirements. They don't have living benefits. It's a return of premium. So it's like maybe like return of premium. I'd have to like look at the actual percentage. It's super low. It's less than 10%. The pricing's okay. It's not horrible. It could be best for older people who where you have to go GI. So it could actually be the best option for some people, but most of the time it's not. Like most of the time we're able to help them out, even if they have to get that policy. We're able to at least get them a graded policy cheaper, or still get them more coverage. So
Yeah, 100%. So that's super important because I see a lot of agents who try to approach vet leads the same way they approach final expense and they fail because
yeah,
they,
and
yeah,
that I failed. Like that's what I did. I bought, like everyone was tearing up the vets, and I was like, bet, like I'm gonna try them out. It's final expense. No, it's not. It's not final expense. At the end of the day, you're selling them. Yes, you are selling them the same products, but it is not final expense.
explain for the agent that's doing that what you did and how you started figuring out like, okay,
Mhm.
I should approach
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it takes money to learn, right? So I mean, I was buying leads. I was probably out like 4 grand. Didn't even close the deal. I had like 80 leads, and I'm like, yo, what is going on? I've never done that in the entire time in the industry. So I'm like, yo, what? Like I'm doing something way wrong. Went talked to my upline, and it was at that point in time, it was literally something as small as like Mr. and Mrs. I was calling them by their first name, and I was still running the same script by like pushing on the why, digging here, digging there. And it's like, you don't have to do it. Yeah, you don't have to do that with vets.
Cool. Person who doesn't know what that, I know what that means. That's
Mm.
the next step. So we did the intro.
Right, right, right.
Where do you take the client next in the call?
Yeah, so then I'm pretty much straight to the point, name, license number, phone number, write it down. You actually take control. When you do that, you're taking control, and they're doing what you say. So you're grabbing their hand and being able, for that point, walking them through the sale at that point in time. They're interested. So if they grab a pen and piece of paper, your close rate literally goes up like 90%. Like me and some guys here in the office were talking about the other day. And so that's a big thing and why I do that. But next, it's literally just asking, Mr. or Mrs., would you rather be, buried or cremated, or have you decided whether you do want to be buried or cremated? They're like, I want to be buried.
Hmm.
Okay, perfect. Now, God forbid if you were to pass away, tomorrow, who would actually be the beneficiary kind of handling all the affairs for you?
Right. Do you mean though?
My daughter, or like sometimes I'll literally expect my daughter, and I don't ask the name. I don't ask the name. I don't care to ask the name right there. They know it's their daughter. They know they need it. They just told me they want to be buried or cremated. So it's like that's straight to the point. They know why they need it. The why is there. But if I'm like, okay, and now what would that look like? And you're saying like that's how you run a final expense, now
Yeah.
what would that look like, if something did happen, And it's like if you say that to a vet, like bro, they're like you're gonna piss them off because it's kind of like not I guess kind of like an ego maybe I don't really know
Oh, it
the
is. It
term
is. It
to
is.
put it there
It's a different.
because like
It's a
bro like it's
different
their life
demographic.
for like they risk their life for you and you're telling them like what's it gonna look like if they die like you know what I mean like
Like, they
I
know
don't
what it
even
looks
piss them off like I'm
like.
gonna smack you through the phone like
Yeah, nah, bro. That's super valuable. Like just being direct, and that makes sense, right? Like it's like what I tell people is when you run a business and you go like business to consumer, where it's like, hey, you have to like tie into like the emotion, etc. Versus when you go like B2B, it's like, dude, just tell me like how much it costs. Does it make sense for me? Like where am I at? What am I struggling with? Like I can connect the dots. Like you're gonna help me make money, so it's a little bit different, and I think that's important. So when you go into the close. We'll just get past the other part because obviously I'm sure you ask like medical questions, try to figure out where they're at. Agent.
well I mean personally dude I think that's a big part medical questions.
Okay, walk through
You,
it
you
then.
you build a lot of credibility through the medical questions is actually what I found. But it's not just asking them, like basics like high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes. No, like I actually have it like a kind of in detail, So it's like when it goes, are you taking any, like blood thinners, heart medications? Are you taking, any high medications for high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, any neuropathy, any asthma, COPD, any anxiety or depression, kidney or liver problems, hospitalizations in the last year for 48 hours or more? And that's knocking out the basics of everything major. But say I'm like, okay, Mr. Tarby, are you taking any high blood pressure medications? Yeah, but then again, it's like I'm educated enough and I know enough. Like, what are the basic high blood pressure medications? Well, it's like, okay, are you taking like lisinopril, metoprolol, amlodipine, and you're naming those medications off, and like even if they don't, like they might not know, and you name it off, and they're like, oh, boom, it is that one. And then I'm taking this as well. And you know what I mean? So you're building that credibility because you just told them you do it 6 days a week. So if you're asking them, medical questions, and you're asking and you're giving, factual things, like they're like, oh, or it might not be like, oh, I used to be on lisinopril, but now I'm taking Atrovast. But it's like you have to be a student, you know what I mean? So it's like medical underwriting is a huge part because you have to be able to know like they don't want to, bounce application to application, guys. Like they want to be straight to the point. Like they want to they want to know if they're approved or denied. Like and they want to be told straight up with like
Yeah, no,
so
that's
so
super.
when you do that, you're building credibility on yourself, of building, even if you've been doing it for 2 days and you know those things and you've studied the script enough in those 2 days to know those things, you can close the deal right there. Just because you can earn their trust like that. Like I think that's there and pen and piece of paper, obviously, and license information and medical questions is where I really like I would say almost build credibility.
Yeah, that's a unique way to do it, but I like it a lot. Now, when it comes to options, or is there another step in the process? Let me not even assume. What do you do?
After medical questions, it's like that's actually whenever I'll ask you like perfect, as I'm looking at the landscape of things here for you, because I obviously have our tool, so I have their medications, health conditions. I know who's gonna give them the approval. And it's like, as I'm looking through the options here in our system, I'm kind of curious. Are you simply just looking to add coverage to what you already have, or is this your first time?
Right, and they say it's my first time.
First time, then boom. Obviously, it's going to be I pitch whole life, so it's like I'm going to pitch them whole life. So boom, go through, explain whole life. Obviously, ask if they have any questions. And as I'm going through explaining whole life, which I mean, if you explain it different, explain it different. So however you explain it, ask more questions. Like right after you say something, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Don't just keep word vomiting on whole life. Ask them because they want to feel involved. Whenever you make someone feel involved, everybody loves, everybody wants to be involved at the end of the day. So those little, and I'd probably say, does that make sense 100 times throughout my script if I counted it? Like if I actually did that, like I have voice memos, I could do it. I should do a transcript of how many times I say it, and like count how many times do I say, does that make sense? But
Yeah.
no, right after after I explain whole life, I'm like perfect. You go back to the pen and piece of paper. I'm gonna have you write down A, B, and C, just like a multiple choice question. Let me know when you got that. Boom, they got it. And then depending on their goal, if you're going to pitch, 20, I would say, so you're going to pitch 30,000, 20,000, 10,000. So it's like, boom, you're like they got A, B, and C right down. It's like perfect. So right next to the A option, I'll have you write down $30,000 worth of coverage. And then I wait. I don't tell them a price. I'm like, okay, now for the B option, I've write down 20,000. And then for the C option, I've write down 10,000. And then keep in mind, obviously we can go, higher, lower, anywhere in between for you as well. Does that make sense? Boom, they're gonna say yes. So from that point on, it's like, okay, just to go back up to the A option of the $30,000 worth of coverage, I would say that would just have you setting aside the 125 on the monthly basis. But I don't say dollars. I'm just like, that's gonna be setting aside the 125 on the monthly basis. I wait for like some sort of acknowledgement. Sometimes they'll be like, okay. Sometimes they'll be like, or like make a noise, like make some sort of noise or something. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know what I mean? I like to have fun. So it's like they'll make some sort of noise, but I wait for that acknowledgement. And then I move on down to the next option. And for the B option, same thing. It's going to be 20,000. It's going to have you setting aside the 115 on the monthly basis. Okay. And they're like, okay, then perfect. Now just to move on down to the C option, the 10,000, that's going to have you setting aside the 85 on the monthly basis. And it's not like saying dollars is like a bad thing, but it's like I love psychology whenever I was in like college. So it's like a trigger word, like whenever someone hears like dollars, they're like, ooh. But if you're just like 125 on the monthly basis, even if you say that to yourself, like if you're like I just spent $300, you're like, or like $500, $1,000, like, dang, I just spent $1,000. We're like, oh, I just spent like 150 last week. You see that,
Yeah.
you kind of see the
Yeah,
difference.
no, no, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And that's what obviously makes it justifiable there. So after I do that, C option, they acknowledge. I'm like, perfect. So now Mr. Tarpley, kind of based off of those three options that we are looking at there for you, which one makes absolutely no sense to you at all?
Yeah, and then let's say I say option A.
Option A. Okay, so I'll go ahead and have you just put an X through that one there on your end.
Okay.
I wait for the acknowledgement. I'm like, perfect. Now, out of the B and the C option, which one's not only going to be affordable, but also provide you and your family enough value?
Option B.
Option B. Okay. So I'll go ahead and have you circle that there on your end. And then, I do just want to make sure, Mr. Tarpley, that, the 125, that is something that is going to be affordable for you on a monthly basis, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so even if something crazy happens, you got to get a new dishwasher, maybe replacing tires on the vehicle, anything crazy like that would still be affordable for you.
Nah, I don't think so. If something happens, I mean, I like that option. It makes the most sense, but maybe with that being said, I should probably go with the last option.
Okay, so the good news is you can always actually upgrade it, in the future as well. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and have you circle the C option instead. Is the 85, is that something that would absolutely be affordable for you, kind of no matter what?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, perfect. So obviously I'll have you circle that one there on your end, and then I'm gonna get the application started up here on my end. Okay, boom, into the app.
You do your thing. Yeah, bro. That's fire, bro. That's fire. I like that. I think that's gonna help out agents a lot. Cool, man. Is there anything else on your sales process you want to touch on?
I don't like, I mean, social, like I don't complicate social, like I really don't. Like there was, whenever I first started, there's a guy he's in a different office now. He's in a Chicago office. When I first started, he was here in Tampa though. I was like doing good, like pitching, getting into applications, building a relationship with the clients, but like I couldn't get people social. And I was like, why is that? It was because I was word vomiting. I was telling them why I need their social pretty much, and then I asking them for their social. So it's like the way I like to think of that is like he was like, dude, the way I asked for social is like, okay, Mr. Tarpley, you are a U.S. citizen, correct? Or with veterans especially, I'm like, okay, Mr. Tarpley, obviously, they do make me ask, but you obviously are a U.S. citizen, correct? And I kind of laugh and like make it a joke. And they're like, well, I hope so, or I have been for 70 years. I'm like, hey, absolutely. And then with that, what would just be a good social to attach to your policy?
I like
And then
that.
if they're like, you know what I mean? So it's like you're validating why you need their social. You making it make sense why they need to, or why they need to give you their social. But then again, if they're like, if they give you a rebuttal, then you can save it for like the simplified issue, the MIB not having to come out to do blood work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you get to save that as ammunition, and then you also get to save it as far as like if they don't, if say you use that one and they don't bite on it, they're not going to give you social. It's like, okay, God forbid, if, like when something does happen to you, that not only like is that how they get you approved, that's also actually how they're going to tie the death certificate, back to the policy. Either they're going to match up your first and last name, your date of birth, and your social security number. So that's actually how your beneficiary is going to make that death claim. And that's how they're going to verify, it is you, Mr. Tarpley. Does that make sense? But
Yeah.
boom, what did I do? Made it like I said, does that make sense? Obviously, he's gonna be like, oh, well, yeah. Like, okay, perfect. So what's a good social for you?
Yeah, you just go right back to
And
it.
then if they get pushback on that, like it's a go ahead and click the green button. Like most of the time, if they got an iPhone, it does like if I get any like any kind of like objection or anything, it's like okay, go ahead and click the green button.
So for the future, for the people that are listening, like what does it look like for Bryson? I know a little bit, but for the people that are watching, what are you planning for next, brother?
Honestly, I'm about to open an office back in Oklahoma. Like go back home, bring it back to the home roots. Just because like something like this is going to be special in Oklahoma. This is what I'll say. Like this don't exist in Oklahoma. It's believe it or not, you're like what? Like it don't exist, but like I had never heard of anything like this. I've brought some of my I've had some buddies come out that have gotten started now that are from Oklahoma. Whenever they got started, I'm like dude, it's not real. It's not real. And it's like what's like what do you mean what's not real? Like what do you mean? And it's like I'll fly them out here and they come and see it in person, like out here in Tampa. And it's like they're like, wow, like what like this is real. You know what I mean? I can actually do my own thing. I can work. If I actually put in the work, I see the results I can get. So
Mhm.
it's definitely a huge it's gonna be massive in Oklahoma. This opportunity, believe it or not, does not exist in Oklahoma. So being able to bring that back to Tism home roots and just change people's lives, it's gonna be massive.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that'll
excited.
be we're looking to open that up, open an office next month. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be
bro.
big.
I'm excited for you, man. I know we just met, but I'm like, yo, dude's gonna be a savage. Your team gonna be crazy, bro. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. I'm still gonna have some guys out here in the Tampa office too. So I mean, I'll kind of fly back and forth, once or twice a month, and 3 to 6 months, I have some I guess some partnerships that I've made now back home that it's the offices will be able to be pretty self sufficient, and I plan to open more offices as it goes.
Yeah.
Put Oklahoma on the map for something, right? Other
Yeah,
than
no, you said Oklahoma. I'm
it's
like,
it's kind of crazy. It's like most people are like Oklahoma, and it's like it's honestly like if you like all 3 seasons, it's a pretty good place. I mean, obviously there's no beach, but other than like not having a beach, you can do about everything else besides I guess snowboard or like you know what I mean. You don't really have like snowy mountains. You get all 3 seasons, but
an agent that just started working with Agent Lead Lab. You've met the team. You kind of see how we operate. What could you tell them about like expectations, leads, how things work? The floor is yours. We'll finish out with that one, bro.
I mean, you guys are it's just you guys are transparent. Like everybody loves transparency, everybody loves honesty. So it's like, as far as like what to expect it, I mean, I expected exactly what you guys said. So as far as that, like what you guys, kind of told me coming in is that, hey, it's, you're gonna be a little bit slower starting out, but like stick with it, week 2.5, like week 2.5, week 3, like that's when you're gonna start to see, everything's going to start to optimize. We're going to kind of have everything up and running. We're going to have our videos out there, and then it's going to really get good. And that's exactly what is happening.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
I
100%.
mean, I just trusted it. You know what I mean? Like you just gotta trust. Like you gotta trust the plan. Like you can't do something for a day and quit. You can't do something for a week and quit. Like you're not gonna be good at it. Like you can't expect to be good at it. You can't expect the best results in a week. You can't expect the best results in 2 weeks. I think with lead vendors, one thing that I've ever even tried with any single lead vendor is like 90 days. You have to give something 90 days.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, you said it better than I did, bro. When I say it, it comes off a little bit differently because of the
I
company.
mean, yeah, but
That's what I like for you guys to say it. It
well, dude,
sounds
that's what I've liked. I mean, that Trey, that's one of the biggest things, dude, since we've met is like just the honesty. You know what I mean? It's like you would rather under promise and over deliver than over promise and under deliver. And that's just and like because you understand like that's one of the biggest things in this industry.
yeah, no, it is. It's everything. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, yeah, we've been doing this for 3.5 years, and I'm like, the amount of people I've seen come and go, companies come and go, highs and lows. I'm like, I just try
Mhm.
to help people and help people make money. If I can do that, I'll be around for a long time. That's all I
And
try.
I'm a big believer in that. Like if you're pouring like good out, like no matter the adversity, no matter the situation, I say situation, I don't say adversity, but it's like no matter the situation you're going through, it's like you're gonna get through it. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of what it is. It's just straight to the point.
Yeah,
But like good people, like good business. So it's like if you're pouring good out into like if you're generally pouring good out, good's gonna come back. Good's gonna come back to you.
yeah.
So it's almost like the like law of manifestation. So it's definitely big on that. And if you're pouring good out, good's gonna come back. Like it's going to. Like I promise you, absolutely nothing will change my mind ever.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. Well, I appreciate you for taking time, brother. I'll hop on. This will be very fruitful for the agents that do listen. And then, yeah, if you guys want to get in contact, just reach out to us. We'll make sure to get you guys hooked up. So outside of
Yeah,
that,
absolutely. I'll say I'll answer. I don't know if you'll put this on the video or not, but I'll say I'll answer any questions as well. So I'll say if anybody reaches out, feel free to answer any questions.
yeah, people will probably hit you up. Like, I got a lot of clients, so they'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, can I talk to
Mhm.
Bryson?" I'm like, he said it's cool, so you might get a
Yeah,
group, but yeah,
that's.
bro.
I mean, that's fine. I would rather. I mean, dude, I like to help people. You know what I mean? I like to help people. So it's like what am I if I don't help people? You know what I mean? Like why would I do? Just to me that doesn't make sense. Why would I not help people?
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. Well, thank you for your time today, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.